I want to talk about something called a non-clinical corrective experience. This is when a safe, consistent relationship outside of therapy helps you heal from patterns that started in childhood. These are patterns like expecting to be abandoned or not knowing what real love feels like. Originally, the term corrective experience came from therapy. It described a moment where with the help of a therapist, you relive an old wound and experience a better outcome, something safer and more affirming. But that kind of healing doesn't have to stay in the therapy room. A person who never felt safe, nurtured, or guided by their caregivers can still experience real, sustained love and protection from new, emotionally available people. And when that happens, it repatterns what love and safety means to that person. And that can happen emotionally and relationally. That kind of shift is sometimes called relational repair, earned secured attachment, healing through relationship, or a non-clinical corrective experience. For me, it showed up right across the street. I didn't grow up with the kind of emotional structure that I needed. From the outside, my family looked like the Huxtables, very stable, but behind closed doors, I didn't have nurturing. I didn't see a healthy marriage. I didn't feel emotionally protected. So I carried those gaps into friendships, relationships. I tried to earn love. I'd overgive, over-explain, try to control people, hoping that they'd see me, choose me, and stay. And a lot of times it ended up the same way, with disappointment, abandonment, and betrayal. But then something happened that interrupted that story for me. My neighbors, an older couple who live across the street from where I bought my new home, noticed that I didn't have family around here, and one day they said, "We're adopting you." I thought they were joking, and I thought it was kind of weird. I was like, you guys are strangers. You don't even know me. But they kept showing up. They kept inviting me to dinner. They kept checking on me, and they kept including me in their life. They weren't just trying to fill a gap. They were just being themselves. They are loving, protective, present. That was the moment that the story started to change for me. If you didn't grow up with what you needed, or you experienced a relational betrayal that created this narrative for you, healing can actually come through new relationships. It doesn't always have to be clinical. It doesn't always require a diagnosis. Sometimes it just requires a safe person and an open heart. I just want to talk about 4 shifts that I made that helped me allow a non-clinical corrective experience to occur in my life. The first one is I examined my patterns. I had to take a look at how I was showing up and what my part was in my previous relationships. Sometimes I sabotaged my healthy relationships because I got scared. Not everyone who triggered me was toxic. Some of them were just having some familiar behaviors that I was misinterpreting. And when I realized that, I could start responding instead of reacting. When you don't recognize your patterns and your negative behaviors, you can bring those negative behaviors that are brought on because of fear and uncertainty into healthy relationships and push healthy people away. So it's really important for you to do an honest inventory of yourself and what you brought to those previous relationships. The second thing I did is I allowed it. I let the relationship with my neighbors happen. Even though I was tempted to pull back or question it, I stayed open. I also honored the relationship. I did not start to treat them like peers. I'm 45 and they're old enough to be my parents. And a lot of times at our age, it's easy just to treat everyone like a peer. And I didn't do that. I showed them deference like you would elders or guides or leaders. And in doing that, I gave the relationship the space and structure it needed to grow. The third thing I did was I had to stop assuming. That this was the hardest part. I had to fight against the belief that everyone would eventually hurt me and that they were only being nice to me because they wanted something. It took time, but the more I named those thoughts as old fears, the less I let them control my decisions. And number 4 was I named it and I received it. Sometimes love is right in front of you, but you can't feel it unless you call it what it is. And I had to say, this is love, this is care, this is protection. And once I named it, I could actually let it in. You might not be able to go back and change what you didn't get as a child or in your previous relationships, but you can create new experiences that tell your nervous system, your heart, and your mind that you are worthy of care. You are safe now. And you don't have to live inside the old story anymore. It's never too late to experience something new and better. You don't have to just survive it. You can receive it. If you've had a non-clinical corrective experience in your life, I would love to hear your testimony. It'll bring me so much joy. If that was a new relationship, a new friend that loved you like a sibling, a friend in church that cared for you like their own child, drop your testimonies in the comments so that we can experience those joyful testimonies together.